No, you don't need a JSON file. When regress returns a so regress returns that stuff, or your API returns that stuff. When we look at this is what is returned. So if we go and look at page 1, so that is not a JSON file. This is just some data, so it has this additional property, which is some add. The add in this case we don't really care about. You don't need to reproduce that, thank you very much. So what you but it's for how regress wants to make some money. So basically we have this content. If you open this in a specialist JSON Explorer, you can see it a little bit more pretty, but this is basically the JSON that is returned. This is generated. When we look at Flask in our app.api, so what we have here is a user list, which is that similar data but in a Python literal. So I initialize a list here. You don't have to have an initial list, but it makes your testing so much easier. And then you so this is Python data. This is just an object. This defines an object in Python. And what we do then when we want to display that is we basically call the JSONify function on that. How do I do that? In this case I make a new object because there's some extra data I need to provide to make it the same as the regress thing. So there's no file here. I just create a Python object that is a dictionary, has these keys per page, 6, with the value 6, page, with the value page number plus 1, because the page number thing that I use starts with 0 rather than with 1. Total amount of pages, users, total amount of pages. I explained in the last video why this is the right calculation, and we return the data, which actually happens to be a slice of the user list. I use a slice because that's fairly easy. So you could do the entire user list to return everything. So this data can update. If you have a create user or a set user, you can update this data. But I would, for now, say it is helpful to have some hard-coded data in the beginning because that makes your testing so much easier. It is not actually a requirement to do so. But I'd say, please provide some initial data so that we can test your application without having to test the new user functionality. And as an added hint, the Python literal syntax is very, very similar to the JavaScript literal syntax. So JSON data would possibly just be able to be put straight in there. And yes, it is possible to have a JSON file you load it from or even save it to. That's additional functionality. You're perfectly welcome to do so. It is not required. There's many ways you could get your data, but yeah.